Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. This video is going to be a little bit different than our normal videos in that I have with me today good friend and certified sex therapist Debby Wade, who will be answering some of the questions about sex that you have had. And so I'm giving her some rapid fire questions and she's giving us the expert answers to things such as what about couples who are sleep divorced, maybe snoring or something has caused them to be in separate rooms. How do they manage their sex life? What about if it's been a while? How do you get started again? What about things like simultaneous orgasm? Should we be shooting for that like we see in the movie? Is that possible? How do you accomplish that? And much more. That's what we're going to talk about today on Relation Shots. All right, here's the next question. Is simultaneous orgasm realistic? I mean, it's in the movies. They both climax at the exact same time, fall over, sweaty, and be like, whew, that was amazing.
Right, and everything in movies is true.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, can it happen? It can happen. And some couples experience that and will share with it that, oh my gosh, it came at such a shock and we were so surprised and all. And that is usually how it happens. That they weren't planning it, it just happened. Mm-hmm. But when we just go with research and bodies, statistically, what tends to happen between an encounter, then physiologically for men and women, how we experience sex differently, when you put all that together, it's going to be seldom. Okay? Because here's why. For most men, let's go with from desires there, they're erect, entry, penetration, and thrusting, on average, depends on which site you read and what research, but on average, a man anywhere from 2.5 to 6 minutes from erect to climax.
See, guys, don't you feel better about that? 2.5 minutes? So you can, some of the guys picked up on the low end. They're like, 2 minutes? Yeah, come on.
Yeah, it's long. 2.5, 6 minutes. Okay. For most women, from the time that desire has maybe matched up with arousal, or her desire finally caught up, she was aroused but caught up, or well, desire was there, but oh, it's just taken so long to clear her mind out of all the things she's thinking about and her body to relax and just kind of be in touch with the body, mind, and feel safe and all. Okay.
That's like 25 minutes just to have the desire. I mean, go on.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But so on average for women, anywhere from 15 to 45. So I'm not mathy, but I can understand the problem with that.
That math doesn't line up.
It doesn't line up.
Yeah.
And so we, you know, when we make that the goal, though, then now we have agenda-focused intercourse.
Sure.
It's just simultaneous, and well, that's going to build stress,
yeah.
and that's going to build anxiety. Well, do you know what stress and anxiety do to desire and arousal?
Sure. Killing the whole thing, right? So it's not.
The
answer is, it may happen. That should not be the goal. Because we're going to create all kinds of other issues.
Yes, we will.
Awesome. All right, next question. Vibrators, toys, okay. And so I don't even, there's some people that would ask this from like a biblical, I was about to say, I don't even care about the biblical. I'm not saying I don't care about the biblical. I just mean, take faith off the table. Vibrators, toys, are they okay? Do they set a dangerous precedence that our bodies can't keep up with? What would you say on, should couples introduce those or not?
So with all those questions together, I could say yes, 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 and yes. Okay. So yes, I think they could be used. Yes, they could be enhancing. Yes, they could be dangerous. And yes, could they cause problems? Could a vibrator cause problems if we can't keep up? But vibrators could also be a beneficial thing for a woman if she's struggling with orgasm or has never orgasmed, and when she learns that she can, then that could be really helpful, and the couple will learn to use that vibrator together. Because if she's having more enjoyment with the sexual experience, what's she going to want to do?
Have more sex.
Have more sex. Okay.
But the fear, as a man, my fear would be, well, she's liking this vibrator so much, I just got replaced. Because you don't have to deal with me and all my foolishness and whatever else I'm trying to do, because this vibrator works phenomenally.
Right. Well, at least that would be a humble, honest man about his fear. Sure. But if there can be an agreement with the couple of this is for us to use together to enhance our experiences. And just like, I think we're going to have to address another question, but as far as self-stimulating, masturbating, you know, couples need to have that discussion as a whole nother discussion. Is that going to be okay with us for either of us to have times that we can do that or not?
Sure.
But what we want to look at is, could that be used for enhancing intimacy between the couples? And it could be. It could also become a dangerous thing if that's what we get dependent on and feel like that is going to be replacing me, that she'll resort to that. But the same thing with toys or props. Could they be fun? And no, I think we have a creative God. I think He designed us with a creative mind, and fantasy's fun. And as long as fantasy can come stand under the umbrella of not bringing other people in, fantasy can be exciting and wonderful, and allow things to be playful, and maybe create laughter. And there needs to be more playfulness and laughter in the bed, not laughing at one another, but with each other. You know,
is that what you're bringing to this party?
That's really.
Yeah, no.
But so props and toys could be fun and enhancing.
Yeah.
But if it gets to where now we're dependent on those, now those are interruptive to intimacy. If a woman feels like, well, whenever he says, hey, how about tonight? And she shows up and he's got all the props lined up and she's like, I was thinking tonight could be one of more of those cuddle, just rest and bask in one another nights, not it all has to be about the eroticism.
Right.
Because the eroticism's good and it's wonderful, but sometimes it's more about the closeness and the connection.
Sure.
You know, and I would say for women, but I think so for men, but if it starts being a distraction, they can be interruptive.
And so how do you know? Because, you know, stuff I've read with just pornography and that, right? The novelty of something will release more dopamine than regular sex with the same partner.
Right.
And so I think when you start introducing, you know, whatever, costumes, toys, the novelty of that, does that at some point not satisfy? And then are we in danger of continuing to, okay, now it's got to be a different toy or a different, you know, how do you decide, like, where's the line that we go, okay, we're crossing in danger zone.
Right. And I think, again, you're just bringing up the significance of being able to have healthy dialogue and making sure our hearts are right.
Gotcha.
And if our hearts are in line with one another and our motivation becomes about something we just want to get to experience and enhance and it be about, but not become independent on, then we're in agreement that this isn't going to be a part of it all the time. Can we sometime have Friday fun night? Okay, Friday fun night. And that's when we may want to, or first Friday fun night. So it's just once a month, you know. Sure. But I think anything we do with boundaries. Yeah. You know, and all the great things in life require boundaries. Sex and what we do sexually, spending. Sure. You know, have eating.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so
everything you're saying has the potential to get out of hand.
Yes.
And so in this area, the key is, are you healthy? Can you communicate in a healthy way with your spouse? If those aren't settled, probably don't start introducing anything, because you're not healthy.
And because you use the word, I'm going to come back to pornography. I don't think pornography can ever be helpful for a couple. It's always going to be dangerous. Yeah. Is it arousing? Absolutely, or nobody would watch it. I wouldn't have all this trouble.
If it didn't work, nobody would watch it, right? Yeah.
But arousal's not the most and only significant part, and there's not anything about pornography that will ever be about intimacy.
Yeah.
And so it's only going to be interruptive, and it's always going to be dangerous, and it's always going to steal something from us. So anyway, I thought I'd throw that in since you mentioned.
I like that.
We can skip the pornography question now because that's
okay. Here's a less controversial. Couples who sleep. I've heard them say we're sleep divorced. Like we sleep in different rooms because one snores or there's sleeping issues. What should couples who sleep in different rooms now because of snoring or other stuff, what do they do to have sex? Because normally we just spontaneously have sex because we're in bed together, and now we're not.
Now we're not, because sex is always supposed to happen spontaneously.
Yeah, always spontaneously at night in your bed together. Always.
Right,
so,
always. That's it.
Absolutely.
So I used this word when we did an earlier episode, empowerment and acceptance. Okay. So we do have to accept that the snoring's the issue, or sleep apnea, or the CPAP machine. I mean, we can look at all, for all these reasons, we have to accept we do need sleep, and we must sleep in separate beds.
Sure.
But then that's where we have to, then we can't leave sex up to spontaneous in the bed, you know. And so that's where we have to be deliberate and intentional. And I think those are what we decide what nights that we will go into which bed, which room, place, you know, kind of make it fantasy fun. Are we doing your place tonight or my place? But that could be done in a deliberate, intentional way so that we are creating time. And it also says we care enough about this relationship. Every other important thing we put on our schedule. So yeah, Tuesday night's your place, Friday night's mine. I mean, you know, that could be a way. Or that could be an established, you know what? Morning sex is going to work best for us. Sure. We set the alarms 30 minutes early, go brush our teeth, kind of decide, you joining me this morning or am I coming and joining you this morning?
Sure.
And just being deliberate and intentional, you know. And or if empty nesters and nobody is in the room, then that's the night you do naked movie night on the sofa and maybe have sex instead of watching the movie.
Sure.
And then you go to separate bedrooms. Yeah. There's a lot of ways to be creative.
Or, you know, catch your spouse in the shower. Or, you know, just don't depend on, basically what you're saying is in bed, in the same bed, at night, spontaneity is the lazy way to have a sexual relationship.
Right. So and it's not likely going to happen.
Not that way.
With spontaneously if we can't sleep in the same room.
Yeah. There you go. Now you know. You can have sex and then go snore. Perfect. All right. How about how can couples start talking about sex if it's not normal? A lot of couples, it's just that's awkward. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
How do you? Is there like a technique? Are there questions? Are there books?
Yes.
How do we start it?
Yes.
Okay.
All those really great questions. So I think a great way is to find a book, and there's a lot of books. If you want me to make a list for you of resources, yes. So I will promise you I'll send you my reading list of resource books.
We'll have a list of books right below this video.
So to choose a book and decide we are going to read this book together, out loud.
Okay.
Together. Okay. So I'm going to share it a little personally here, but my husband and I have read many books together, and the way we read books together is whoever's reading out loud gets the foot rub. We're feet people, so we like that. I know not everybody does.
Yeah.
But so
if you're reading, he's rubbing your feet.
Yes. Okay. And sometimes we change it chapter to chapter. And so then I'm rubbing his feet while he's reading out loud. And it's physical touch, so it feels a little intimate. It's not necessarily sexual touch, but I don't put my feet in anybody else's lap, so it is intimate between us. And that's how we read. So then you have to stumble across the words that you're not used to singing out loud. Oh my goodness, this book just talked about his penis, and I haven't ever said that out loud. Or vagina. I don't even know that I've ever let that come across.
It's a good way to know your spouse is like if your foot gets squeezed hard at different words, you'll know, oh, they're uncomfortable with that word. Every time I say vagina, he's squeezing my foot real hard, right? Oh.
And then that allows for other dialogue. In your household growing up, what were the terms used for sexual body parts? And go, I don't know. You know. Tallywhacker,
right?
It depends.
If you had a house full of like brothers and boys, you probably had all kinds of slang around. If you had a house full of girls, probably nothing.
Right. Yeah. And so then that can help couples know when they read something if it sounds offensive or brings up guilt or brings up shame of, you know, what's going on with you. I know you just got a little quiet, you know. Is this really how you feel? This is what it says that men experience. Is that really you? I mean, those can be great ways to dialogue. Then great podcast. Watching an episode like this and then, okay, I think you put questions down. Yeah. Let's go through the questions and let's say those words that she said. You know, I've never heard somebody say orgasm and God in the same question, you know, or same sentence. So
actually they do, like Jesus, you know.
Right.
Oh my God.
Maybe they do, yeah.
Just not in the right context.
Right. So there's a lot of ways in that reading books can be helpful in creating that dialogue. Listening to podcasts. There's some great websites, and I will add those too because there's some websites we don't want them to go to.
Sure.
But there's some great websites with good articles and good questions that they can read, fun little exercises that they can do.
Yeah. So podcasts, books, articles, and I agree with you. I think what makes those kind of things great is they neutralize the conversation, right? If I just try to come to my spouse and ask, they get defensive. But if a book is telling us to have the dialogue, it's a neutral playing field. It wasn't my idea, so I'm not risking rejection and bringing it up. You're not defensive because it wasn't my idea. We're just doing what the book said, right? So good. Okay, here's this one. How do you get started again when it's been a while? Right? Even couples that have been having sex, you get into a season where it's been 2-3 months, and it's almost like I don't even know how to initiate anymore. This is weird. Right? What do you do?
So I'm going to try to shorten the answer in this, because that could need to be nuanced for a lot of reasons on why they quit having sex.
Sure.
Okay. So is this just a busy season and it's just been a while, or has there been betrayal and it's been a while?
Yeah. So we're like you often do. Okay. This is the hard part about having rapid fire questions with a sex therapist, because she's like, there's so much more to it than just your answer. Right. So the assumption behind a question like this is been a while. Mostly healthy couple, hasn't been any, sexual violence between the two of them, not past trauma, not, just somewhat healthy, but they just got disconnected.
Yeah. So I would say stepping in with vulnerability would be really important to step in and, I hope couples use pet names or endearing names or some names that they call each other that nobody else does, Okay. But for my husband, I call him Babe. But using whatever endearing name to say, Babe, I've just really missed you. Mm-hmm. If a woman is willing to be honest to say, I've just missed you inside me, I mean, that's pretty private. Yeah, or a husband saying, I've just missed you laying on top of me. I've missed connecting with you.
Now, I would think there's a lot of couples that is uncomfortable to say that.
Probably so. That's what it says, going real vulnerable.
Okay. Yeah.
But just being able to say, we've not connected in a while, and I'm really missing being with you. I think to be able to say things that we miss, not just about the intercourse, the actual sex, but, I miss your breast up against my chest. I miss your hip. I miss the curve of your hips. I've just not touched them in so long. So couples being able to show up vulnerably with just a missing. Often what happens is couples get in that impasse of, well, last time I initiated, she said no, and I don't want to feel that again, so I'm going to wait her out and see when she initiates. Well, he certainly hadn't initiated in a while. Maybe he's not missing me, or man, this has felt like a little bit of a relief, so we'll see how long it can go. We can let too much distance create. Then we can start making attributions, and so we need to be careful about attributions. Well, he's probably thinking this. Well, she's not even sexual anymore. He doesn't find me sexy anymore. We start lobbing these attributions instead of just showing up going, I just really miss you. Mm-hmm. Or we have gotten ourselves so busy, we've not made time for each other. Could we make time for each other Friday morning at breakfast after we take the kids, and you and I just go have some communication together, just us, and then let's see where that connection goes.
Gotcha.
Because most couples who have gotten disconnected sexually, they're disconnected emotionally.
Yeah.
For men, sometimes, they like that sexual connection that brings back them the vulnerability to connect emotionally. Sure. Many women need that emotional connection that will allow themselves to feel safe to open back up.
Which therein lies the problem. I need sex to emotionally connect with you, and she's saying I need emotional connection to have sex with you.
Right. Or the fighting version is, why would I want to have sex with you? You don't even talk to me. Right. Well, why would I want to talk to you? You don't even have sex with me.
Right. Yeah. Why don't we do both at the same time? Like, talk to me while we're having sex.
There we go. Yeah.
So it starts with just being vulnerable emotionally, is what you're saying, and then working back into it.
I think that's the best way. Or if we don't show it vulnerably, it'll almost seem like a demand or pouting, and those usually don't invite for connection.
All right, so there you go. Hopefully that was helpful to you. I know every time I sit down with Debbie, I feel like I get a full degree in all things sex therapy. She really knows her stuff. I would love to hear what you thought about it. So drop a comment in the comment section below. Let's have a little dialogue about some of the things that she talked about and whether that has resonated with you. Maybe you have a different perspective on it. If we can help you in any area of your relationship, we would love to be part of your relationship journey. Maybe it's our membership community, counseling, a class, a course, an upcoming retreat. You'll see all the links in the description area below for any of those. And until next time, we'll see you right back here on Relation Shots.